Hello everybody and welcome to this very short recording webinar. Today I want to speak to those of you who are feeling like you're not authentic and it's really getting in the way of you showing up, being visible, writing your marketing, writing your websites, writing your copy for whatever it is you're producing or sending out into the world. So this is a special recording and a special webinar for anyone who is just feeling that they're self-conscious and worried about what people think and fearing being judged, and that it's literally stopping you in your tracks from moving forward with marketing, business, launching programs, doing your creative work, putting yourself out there, selling your services. You know how this is stopping you. And so today I want to share with you some really simple key ways that will help you get out of this funk and into your more and most authentic self, where you can start to show up, express yourself confidently, and really start to make a difference in the world with the thing that you have to offer. So what I ask you to do at this time is I would ask you to just close down anything you're watching whilst you're listening to me. If you've got Facebook open, if you've got Instagram open, you know, part of the beauty of the type of coaching that I do is that you get the chance to get your own insights and your own ideas and to settle down as you hear me. That's the feedback my clients give me. And you cannot get that settling down. You cannot get those insights if you're sort of distracted over on something else at the same time. So give yourself permission for 20 to 30 minutes of gracefulness where you just get to really hone in here on what you need. And so what I will start with sharing is that, you know, you have something to offer. You have something that you know you can help people with. And that is where you want to put your focus. You know, you want to start to honor the fact that maybe you've been gifted with brilliant art work that you can do. Maybe you've been gifted with incredible, you know, empathy and ability to help people. Maybe you've been gifted with wonderful teaching and healing and abilities that really transform people's lives. And the first place you really want to focus, ladies, is in looking at the fact that that is the gift in all of this. And like any human being, there are certain things that get in the way of you expressing this gift more in flow, let's say. And we're going to cover some of those and we're going to break through some of those. And there are certain things that you just innocently can forget, you know, as you're going about this this way of working. And so one of the things that many of the women that come to me share is that they're just a bit daunted about the online marketing and this need to show up online. And that can be quite daunting for people, especially if you're someone who's had a different type of business in the past, or if you've had a business that was bricks and mortar. So it's a new territory for you. And here's the beauty of that new territory. The beauty of that new territory is that you get to start afresh and you get to do something in a new way that ultimately, if you don't give up upon, you will succeed at. That's the #1 golden rule, I believe, in business. If you just don't give up, you will get there. But I know that for many of you, you know, showing up online and having to put yourself online can feel quite daunting and inauthentic at times. And I want to help you with that today. Like, I really want you to be supported in seeing that it can only be two things, right? You can only either be listening to the judgment in your head as you're sharing with your audience, or you can be listening to the clarity and the guidance and the wisdom that's coming to you to share with your audience. Now, if you're feeling inauthentic, if you're feeling like you're blocked, if you're feeling that you can't write or speak or say what you need to say, the chances are that you are simply listening to all of the self-evaluation and judgmental thinking you're having about yourself in that moment. I couldn't possibly do videos or write blogs if I were tuned into that station either. And that's the first thing I want you to see. You're innocently tuning in to the station called self, but self with a small s. And I'm wanting to help you tune into the station called self with a capital S, because that self has greater access to divine downloads, intelligence, wisdom, clarity, direction, and it's just generally a feeling of flow. So what do you do when you realize this? What do you do when you're aware of your small self? Well, first of all, you notice it and you do the best you can given the noise you're in. The station called small self has a lot of interruptions. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of, how am I doing? How do I measure up? How do I compare? What am I like compared to her? Oh no, I'm not doing it right. Oh, what are they going to think? You don't necessarily have access to great wisdom from that place that people hear deeply. And that's point number 2 here. You know, if you want to make an impact with people, whether it's on video or it's via your writing or your website, you know, or your artwork or whatever it is, you want to be painting, writing, drawing, speaking, sharing from the station of self with a capital S, because from there you're giving something deeper. You're able to impact those that come across you. People notice it. They know when you're speaking from memory and intellect and what you've learned and 10 steps this and 7 steps that. And they know when you're speaking from a deeper place. They know when you're creating from a place of wisdom. So you really want to just start to notice when you're in your creation of whatever it is, you know, to be authentic, you have to switch out of the station of small self and switch on to the station of self with a capital S. One of the ways that I love to help my clients do that is I love to help them start to notice, become conscious of which one they're dialing into. And it's amazing to me how many people don't know the difference sometimes. They really don't know which station they're in, because the station of small self is so familiar, is so loud, has been so habitual that, you know, this other one is a little bit, it comes and goes. Sometimes I'm in flow with it, sometimes I'm not. So part of my work with clients is about making sure that the station with capital S self is fully on and fully dialed in at all times. Because as a result of that, there's more flow, you're able to create and produce more easily, people hear you on a different level. So go easy, start to notice which station you're on when you're creating. And you know what? If you are on the station of small self and you know it, give yourself a break. I know women that sit there trying to create anyway, even when they're coming from all the criticism and the judgment and the self-evaluation, and they're trying to be authentic. You know, if you recognize you're in that small self when you're creating, I encourage you to just give yourself a break. Step away, go for a walk, get a coffee, relax, read a book, do something else. Let that thinking start to move on before you come back to the page, okay? Before you come back to the copy, to the artwork, to the whatever. It might sound simple, it might sound like common sense, but I bet there are many of you listening to this who think that when you hear take a break, you think that that's you trying to escape, that that's you trying to get away, that that's you trying to procrastinate. That's not true, ladies, right? If you're doing anything with a gun to your head, you're going to want to have a break from that. You're going to want to remove that gun and then come back to the page. I remember in my own life, you know, I used to have such a gun to my head about what would they think of me? Is this worthy? Is this good enough? Does it make sense? There was so much noise, like interrupting the station, that all I could do was simply write. And here's the good news. I built a multiple six-figure business on a blog. You know, it started as a blog. I only ever was writing. You never saw me because I was too consumed with the self-concern about showing up visibly, about being on camera, about, you know, putting myself out there and what would they think. All that changed when I finally woke up to how I was using my thinking against myself, and how this thinking, this self-conscious thinking, this station called small self, was ultimately, you know, an illusion, transitory energy passing through. But see, I didn't know that at the time. I didn't have an insight around that at the time. And because of that, it looked real to me. My scary thinking about myself looked real. So the best I could do was just show up in writing, and it wasn't so bad. You know, I still ended up, you know, creating a business and having clients and, you know, putting myself out there. But it was nothing compared to being able to show up on camera like I do today. Today I'm able to come to you via video, not just blog. Today I'm in talks with the potential of a television show that will be based on me being on camera, something I never thought would occur. And that is something that might be a long-term project down the line, but certainly will be, you know, will be visible and on camera and be exposing, you know, the self. None of those things would ever have entered my mind or could have been possible for me to even consider and to share with my audience in this way if I had continued to live in the experience of so much self-concern. I love to help my clients get freedom from that self-concern, because when they do get freedom from that self-concern, they just awaken a flow of creativity, ideas, wisdom, well-being. And so I really consider myself fortunate today to be in the place that I'm in, where I'm able to help you get beyond that level of noise in your head, to get down to the nitty-gritty of the action that you want to be taking, okay? But again, it wasn't always like that for me. And sometimes, at times, I can get still caught up and therefore still not be able to take the defined action I know is the right thing to take in the first place. So how do we deal with that in the moment? You know, how do we deal with that? Well, we want to look at this other pointer. We really want to look at, is the action that you're feeling called to create coming from wisdom? Okay. So many women that I speak with, you know, the reason that they're feeling inauthentic isn't just because they're struggling with showing up, isn't just because they're in a funk, isn't just because they're feeling self-conscious on camera or paper. It's because the thing that they're bringing out into the world is being brought out from a place of urgency and stress and insecurity instead of a place of wisdom. Now, let me help you understand the difference. Sometimes, and I get this, we are creating something from a need to be important, make money, get ahead, prove something. Some of you, and I get this, some of you have really strong, tangible deadlines that you have to meet, perhaps financially. But when you're creating with that, from that place, you are creating with a gun to your head again. You are creating from a place of general insecurity, which in my opinion comes with struggle, comes with stress and tension. And so you really want to know why you're doing what you're doing. And I don't mean you have to get into the big why of what you're doing. I just mean, is what you're creating coming from what you've heard within you? Or is it coming from a place of need? Now, some of you might think I'm nuts. Some of you might think, Grace, of course it's coming from a place of need. Why else would we create? But please bear with me. Sometimes we do create from a place of need, but it's not the ultimate answer. It's not the easiest, most graceful place to create from. So I want to speak to you for a moment about this other place, this place of grace, I call it. And this place of grace that you create from is when you get an intuitive hit, a piece of wisdom, an idea, a vision that comes to you, not that you make up, that comes to you, and you just know that that's the next direction for you. When you are creating from that place, you are wide open to flow, synchronicities happening, finding the right people being drawn to you. It's incredible what shows up. I'll give you an example in my own life in the hope that it will help you. But I recall not that long ago, I was thinking to myself, people are lacking hope and faith. This is the one thing I noticed in my marketplace, that y'all were really lacking hope and faith about the future. It was like this doom and gloom had come over you all about, what was possible. And it occurred to me, it was one of those insights that, you're walking along one day and it occurred to me, God, there's a real need for hope and faith. And my next thought was, you bring it. Like that was literally, boom, you bring it. And so immediately I got to work on a gorgeous 30-day hope and faith intensive, which then morphed into a 6-week manifesting mastermind. And I sold that. I literally sold that effortlessly within 48 to 72 hours. All the places were filled. And on top of that, all these synchronicities came in at the time. I remember a friend called me up and said, Grace, have you considered a mastermind? And I remember someone sent me a book on manifesting. And I remember someone else came in and said, have you heard about this hopeful new piece? All these synchronicities showed up. Now I share that with you just to start to realize and hopefully give you some hope that when you are coming from creating something, that yes, your marketplace needs perhaps, but mostly from that divine download, that wisdom place, it's effortless. As long as you act on it and you don't let the self-evaluation kill it, as long as you act on it, it is effortless, okay? I love to help clients with this. I love to help you in this way, to really be able to put together and create and formulate for yourself the program, the idea, the copy, the website, the thing that's coming to you that you're wanting to express. Because when you act on it, you will see the miracles happen. When you get out of your own way, you will start to see the traction. Remember, I shared at the beginning, if you don't give up, you'll succeed. That's the only rule. That's the only rule. If you don't give up, you'll succeed. But you want to just start getting a feel now in your own experience where you're creating from. Are you creating from a place of insecurity and urgency and stress, or are you creating from a place of wisdom? Now, I'm not saying that creating from urgency is a really bad thing. We do sometimes need a certain level of let's go to get us moving. But only you can know if the let's go energy is helpful to you or putting the gun back to the head. And if it's putting the gun back to the head, ladies, let go. Like, forget let's go, just let go. Let go, it's not helpful. Pointer number 3 before we finish today. And, you know, this is a helpful one for those of you that are just feeling, you know, like you're really stuck on the whole world watching you, wondering what they will think of you, stumbling around in your creations and your marketing. You know, this concern about their opinion is, I know it stops you in your tracks, and it's something that you have to let yourself get unhooked from. Because if you're not self-concerned about yourself and how you're doing, you're just switching over to being concerned about what they're thinking about how you're doing. And all of that is, yes, it gets you in a funk. It stops you in your tracks. It leaves you whereby you're really not able to, you know, move forward. And yet at the same time, you know, you don't find your authentic voice from that place. You find judgment and criticism and analysis. Okay. Looking at self, again, tuning into the station of small self is a really bad habit. And it's something that, you know, we've learned growing up, but we can get freedom from it. And as we get freedom from it, we start to experience an innate confidence, an innate voice that literally moves it all forward. Think of it this way. Babies don't have a self-esteem issue. Babies aren't worried about whether or not their voice is authentic in the world. Because ultimately, babies are not in the experience of small self, self-consciousness. They have all sorts of feelings moving through them day and night. They express them. 1 minute it's crying, and then the next it's laughing, and the next it's hunger, and whatever else is going on. The difference is that they don't get stuck in judgment about their experience. So the experience flows through. It happens and it flows through, right? They're not searching for an authentic voice. They're not evaluating their voice or comparing their voice to anyone else. So I almost feel like most of the time, my job is to help you come back to that lighthearted, childlike element within, whereby you're a lot less interested in your small self. And you're just letting the experience of whatever is coming to you flow through. Now, that experience for some of my clients is, it's going to be a range of things. You know, sometimes you're going to be sad. Sometimes you're going to be depressed. Sometimes you're going to be anxious. Sometimes you're going to be really happy, really clear, and really confident and assertive and strong. The key is that you're not judging whatever it is you're feeling in those moments, and therefore creating more blocks, more focus on how you're feeling, more focus on what you're not doing. That's where people get stuck, right? That's where people get stuck. Some of my clients have gone on to leave day jobs and create their own businesses. Others have created and launched programs and products and services that they now get to work with their own clients on. Some others have made incredible works of art and gone on to create all sorts of things. They've just awakened their natural creativity. And for others, you know, they're living just more and more in feelings of well-being, peace of mind, and innate confidence. And all of those changes, all of those transformations really occur in really being able to live more and more from that place of grace, that place of wisdom and well-being, and operating from there, rather than operating over here in the station of small self that just continues to use the same recycled thinking over and over again to block oneself. I would love to invite you to have my support in getting that ability to live more from your wisdom, more, operate more, and create more from that place of grace. And I'm particularly inviting you, if you have something you're working on right now, maybe it's something you want to launch, maybe it's something that you're writing for your website, maybe it's something around doing video, going from blogs to video, maybe it's something around just getting started in marketing in a graceful way, in a low-tech graceful way. Whatever it is you're ready to get out of a funk about and have my help on, I would be very encouraging to you to reach out at this time. At this particular time, we can have a short call to determine the best next steps. And what I'll share with you is that whilst I am totally engaged with you getting beyond this small self and back into operating, creating from wisdom, I'm also encouraging that we look at practical pieces too. So you are welcome to leverage my business skills, my copywriting skills, my messaging skills, you know, leveraging whatever is there for you that's needed at this time. Combining this spiritual and practical element together, we have a recipe for your success. So I encourage you that if this interests you and you would like to explore what we could do together and what it might look like, that you get in touch. You can click on the link below to schedule a call, or you can email me directly, gracefulcoaching@gmail.com. So I look forward to hearing from you if this is for you, and please feel free to reach out. I'll be back with you soon with another video. Lots of love. Ciao.